Anxiety. Many of you wanted to talk about this. Anxiety has been an unwanted friend in my life. Friend is not the right word. It has been a bitch. It has been a nagging bitch that attempted to take down my peace of mind and steal my capacity. In broaching this subject with you, I was trying to remember, where did it start? I don't even know if it's actually all that important, but I was just thinking, where did it actually start? I remember having moments of angst in my early 20s, but I really feel like it started to become a life-altering thing mid to late 20s. The season that I'm referring to in my life, I went through a lot, okay? I got married. I moved across the world to South Africa because my husband is South African. I was making huge adjustments to new surroundings, culturally, safety-wise. I had an identity crisis, which is a whole nother topic. I moved from a big city to a small town and then back to the big city. I started a business that flopped. I got pregnant and had twins, and then I started another business, all in a span of about 4 years. It was crazy pants. And like most people, I really felt like I was just doing the best that I knew how to do. And that bitch, anxiety, she crept up on me and infiltrated multiple areas of my life to a point where my ability to function and my quality of life was altered, for sure, without a doubt. I have to look at some notes that I made over here to be able to articulate this to you properly. I feel like it started with like brain scatter, that brain scatter feeling, not creative brain scatter, but with the proper combination of small events, my mind would scatter and panic, and I couldn't think or see straight in the moment. And it was such an intense feeling that it would linger for quite a while, actually affecting my confidence. Fleeting momentary events, when I say small events, it's like the wind blowing really hard and trying to hold a shopping cart still while loading your groceries in your car and like semi-watching over your shoulder to make sure that no one's walking up behind you to snatch your bag and try not to drop yourself in at the same time. Like it's in retrospect, it is a stressful moment that lasted 10 seconds, 30 seconds, but at the time, it was overwhelming and crippling. Somewhere after that, any feeling of being boxed in resulted in me locking in myself in the bathroom and hyperventilating. I would cry to the point of hyperventilating. Like I would literally be sitting on the bathroom floor, like heaving, hyperventilating. It didn't happen very often, but when it did, it was bad. And on the flip side of it, I was so exhausted from trying to gain control of myself that my boundaries usually crumbled, and resulting in continued poor decision making, even like seemingly small decisions, which resulted in more anxiety. So frustrating, so unending. It felt like this ruthless, vicious cycle. I had always been a classic extrovert. And all of a sudden, sorry, I scrolled too far. I'd always been a classic extrovert, and all of a sudden, being in large crowds, or especially at shopping centers, made me dizzy with sensory overload. It was like everything all at once. Signs everywhere screaming for my attention. I felt like I could see every sign, big and small, with bright colors and flashing gadgets in every direction, millions of choices. Like I would walk into an aisle and it just felt like I could see every packet, every word, and they were all like had just tons of text and information that I was supposed to read so I could make this like right decision. By a landslide though, sound was the worst for me. Sometimes I felt like Sorry. Sometimes I felt like I could hear everything and nothing all at the same time. I could hear the tone and the pitch of my children's chatter, but not necessarily the words they were saying. I could hear the lady's conversation next to me and the intercom making an announcement and the coin that the old man just dropped and the creaking sound of the wheelchair coming by and a kid screaming one out over in the plastic bags being pulled apart so someone could put produce in it. The click click of shoes on the floor. I could hear all of it at any given moment, and I just couldn't take it all in. I had no processing ability for quite a while for seemingly everyday things. I realize even as I say this, it sounds so like it's just everyday stuff, but I got through it, but it would leave me in a panic. For a solid 2 years, I had to choose really carefully when I went to the grocery store and actually restrict myself to a time limit in the store. Otherwise, it was basically guaranteed that I would have a panic attack from sensory overload. Not the kind that resulted in me locking myself in the bathroom, but I would just walk out of there like, and my husband could see it on my face. He was just like, okay, it's time to go. Because there was just an onslaught of things coming in that I did not have the ability to process. I just craved quiet, stillness, and peace. So my whole life, having lived as an extrovert, always wanting to be around people, always wanting to be in the thick of things and being a classic extrovert, and all of a sudden I just wanted to like crawl into a quiet hole and just like rock myself and just be quiet. And I literally wondered if there would ever be such a thing as normal again. And if you've never dealt with crippling anxiety, this can sound utterly pathetic, but this was what was happening in the midst of my life. So to the everyday person that saw me, maybe it looked like I was a little bit sad or down or having a tough season or a tough day, or maybe it didn't look like anything. I often just did my best to pull myself together and put in a smiley face and push forward, but I was really, really battling. By the way, did I tell you that this entire time, on top of the smiles and the trying to push through, I very much, this whole time, reading my Bible, loving Jesus, attending church, whole time. It's not like I have had a solid faith for quite a while and the rubber was not meeting the road for me, and I was confused and desperate as to why I could not experience a God that I knew that was real in this area of my life. I was desperate for something practical, something tangible. Like there's a massive difference between knowing something in theory and knowing something practically. I still love Jesus very, very much, and he's been very tender and very gracious in my life. But the stereotype and the stigma associated with being a good Christian, whatever that is, that's ridiculous, hounded me during these initial years of anxiety. Hounded me. My perceived shortcomings as a follower of Christ only added weight and complication to already dark places. It was probably a combination of expectation I put on myself, expectation I felt from society, from the church, whatever, like who actually cares? But there was a stereotype and a stigma there that added extra weight that did not need to be there. Because in actuality, hear me clearly in this, in actuality, it was in my faith. It was in the context of having a relationship with Jesus that I found the room to be kind to myself in this season. Because God himself wasn't cross with me, upset, or unnerved with me. So why should I be? God himself is not upset, cross, or unnerved by your tough seasons, by your shortcomings, by your, seemingly ridiculous ability to not function. He's not unnerved by it. And it was actually in this space of allowing love to draw close to me, even in my shattered existence, and that I received and put into action what I called my first POA, my first plan of action. So if you're ready to begin to leave behind overwhelm and dark places, you're going to want to take note of this, okay? And this is an ultra simple plan and a guideline that popped into my spirit one day after prayer journaling. That's just a phrase that I made up for sometimes I don't want to pray out loud. I write down my prayers, okay? This POA that I'm going to share with you, it became a lifeline for moments when, like I said earlier, I felt dizzy and disorientated with anxiety. Have you ever felt like that? Dizzy and disorientated with anxiety, like you can't see the trees from the forest? Then this is for you. Who cares about where your anxiety came from at this moment? Okay? Who cares about the root cause? For now, we're gonna help you in your moment. You can't begin to look at the root cause when actually what you need is relief. Okay? God's infinite wisdom came to my rescue in this space. And that is what I'm going to share with you now. You're going to see below this video the text that rolls out this POA. Read through it. Write it down. Make a copy of it. Put it on a little note card in your car. Carry it in your handbag. But make it visible. And leave a comment in the comment box below. I'll touch in with you again sometime soon. Take care, guys.